You feel the wind go through your hair. Breathe in the fresh air. You can feel the heartbeat of Epona getting faster. And you're picking up speed. This is what it feels like when you're riding a horse at full speed in real life. But this is a video game. So yeah, snap out of it. Epona, Link's companion and trusted horse throughout the Zelda series. But where did it all start? And how did Epona change throughout the games in terms of gameplay, design, and use? Well, let's find out. It all started with the development of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the first Zelda game where we saw Epona. During the development of Super Mario 64, the development team had plans to include a horse, which were later moved to Ocarina of Time. The developers didn't want the controls to be too difficult, so Epona was made to automatically jump over barriers if she had enough speed. To make the experience more entertaining, the carrot system was established, as well as mounted archery. The developers also wanted to include one-on-one battles and horseback swordplay, though such features did not appear until Twilight Princess. The scene where Epona jumps over the broken bridge in Gerudo Valley was specially requested by Shigeru Miyamoto. A similar scene is shown when Epona escapes from Lon Lon Ranch, which had more than one exit, so a cutscene was made for each. The idea of horses and these scenes were inspired by Western movies. Epona was created by Yoshika Koizumi. Funny enough, Epona shares the same name with the Celtic goddess of horses. In earlier stages of development, Epona was planned to be nameable by players in Ocarina of Time, but the feature was removed before its release. The feature was later added to The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. During the development of Twilight Princess, Ayanuma, the game's director, would not confirm whether or not the horse was indeed Epona. Probably because they were still working things out with the naming function in the game. In Ocarina of Time, Epona is first seen when she's just a foal at Lon Lon Ranch, where she is raised by Milan. She's wild and untamed, running away when Link approaches her. Only Milan can get close. After Milan teaches Link Epona's song, Epona stops running away and approaches Link. Milan then says that Epona has taken a liking to him. So in the very beginning they introduced the song mechanic and how this would work with Epona. It's a method of summoning her, and we also see this in the game, because Epona runs to Link as soon as he plays the song. The interesting part of meeting Epona in the beginning is that you can do nothing with her. Meeting her and learning the song is just a setup for future events. And this is something most players will remember as soon as they turn into an adult. Link finds her 7 years later when she has become a mare. However, things have taken a turn at the ranch, and Ingo is now in charge and has plans to present Epona to Ganondorf, who he claims gave him ownership of the ranch. At first, Epona will run away from Link, as if he was a stranger, but if he plays Epona's song, she will remember him and trot to his side. This was the entire reason why you learned the song early on, and it's a great mechanic, since this creates a connection between the past and the future. Link can then participate in a horse race against Ingo with Epona as his steed. If Link wins twice, Ingo lets him keep Epona. However, Ingo then attempts to prevent Link from leaving with Epona by shutting the gates of the ranch. Now the thing you need to do in order to escape is brilliant, and they made an amazing little cutscene for this. So they turned it into some sort of small quest, which takes part in the past and in the future, and they did a great job of introducing Epona to the public. Afterwards, Link can play Epona's song while in Hyrule Field to call her. Now you mainly use Epona to get around the overworld, also known as Hyrule Field. They did this perfectly, since the reason why Hyrule Field was so empty was because of Epona. Hyrule Field was built around Epona, and I'm not the only one with this opinion. Honest gamers commented that the world of Ocarina of Time seemed to be designed for Epona, rather than the other way around, and I completely agree with this. Besides this, they also introduced other minigames and side quests involving Epona, mostly archer themed, since you could use the bow while riding Epona. The horse archery in Ocarina of Time is a lot of fun, but it can be a bit difficult to control her. They also gave the player the option to use short speed boosts while riding her, and this is mostly used to jump over obstacles. Epona received a mostly positive reception since her introduction in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Game Daily even listed Epona as one of their top 25 Nintendo gimmicks, stating that through Epona, Nintendo had provided gamers a means of enacting the childhood dream of riding a horse. So in short, people loved Epona, and that's why she also returned in the game after Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Link is first seen riding Epona through the Lost Woods at the start of the game. Then the Skull Kid wearing Majora's Mask comes along and steals Epona from Link. Eventually Epona is gone and Link ends up in Termina. After completing the Snowhead Temple, Link finds her at Romani Ranch. If he visits the ranch on the first day, Romani teaches him Epona's song and gives Epona back after Link practices shooting balloons while riding her. After this, there's quite a big side quest at Romani Ranch where you can use Epona, so it's similar to Ocarina of Time's introduction to Epona. But the major difference is that the entire time mechanic is replaced by first losing her and later on finding her again. Besides that, she handles exactly the same, so not a lot changed. After this, some other horses also appeared in the Zelda series, but they weren't the real Epona. The next game where we see Epona is in the Minish Cap, but this time it's a bit different, since you can't ride on her. But they added another interesting feature. In the Minish Cap, Epona can be seen in Hyrule Castle Town carrying a wagon with milk containers. She's owned by Malon, who sells milk to Link after he helps her and Talon find the spare key to their farmhouse. But now comes the weird part. Minish Link can communicate with Epona, who asks him to buy Lon Lon milk, and he can also fuse kinstones with her. So this is the first Zelda game where we can actually communicate with her. And also the first time where we see her as a 2D character. They made her in the pixel art style, which I'm a big fan of, so I thought it looked great. Now after this, Epona finally returned in a 3D Zelda game, and this time they went all out in terms of features and story. They made a full character out of Epona throughout the game, not just for one small side quest or little bits. She is seen and used very early on in the game, aiding Link in his job as a rancher, although Ilia takes care of her. Ilia gets angry when Link treats the horse poorly or she gets hurt. So in the beginning of the game, Epona is used to move the plot, and is a big part of the introduction. After the village is attacked by King Bulblin, Epona disappears. However, Link reunites with her later on in Kakariko Village, where she runs around desperately attempting to throw off 2 Bulblins. After the Bulblins are defeated, Link has to tame her and then ride her to save Colin. So here we see a similar scenario to what happened at the beginning of Majora's Mask. You lose her, and later on find her again. But this time there's no Malon, since you learned the song to summon Epona earlier on in the game. Different from previous games, Link can use various items while riding her, including the sword. Also the carrots are replaced by spurs. Epona is used when fighting against King Bulblin, and during the third part of Ganondorf's battle. Also, Wolf Link is able to speak with her, as with other animals. So what essentially happened in Twilight Princess is that all the features from the games were put into one, and they even added more. You can talk with Epona just like in the Minish Cap. You need to find Epona after she ran away, similar to Majora's Mask, and of course all the features and mechanics from Ocarina of Time also made a return. Now besides all these old mechanics and features, they also added a couple of new ones. Like using the sword while riding Epona, which they later on used in boss fights with King Bulblin and Ganondorf. It's the first time ever that she was used in a boss fight, and it turned out great. So they expanded on her, mostly on the combat and story. Now we also see her in Breath of the Wild. In this game, riding Epona is done automatically, with Link only needing to steer. He can attack by using the sword or the bow while riding her. Link is also able to jump off Epona, slowing the game in order to shoot arrows at enemies more precisely. However, unlike her physical appearance in all the other games, Epona is seen with a black mane and tail. But besides this, nothing is known about Epona. The only other thing we saw in the trailer is that Link can now tame horses. Epona has to be one of the most legendary horses in video games, and that's for a good reason. She blew people away, and she became one of the most familiar faces in the Zelda universe. So everybody, the NX is finally announced. We have seen it by now. I haven't seen it at this point in time, but I will see it soon. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Click the annotations on the screen right now, and why not subscribe? Because if you subscribe, then you will get notifications, but you do need to click on the little bell thing next to subscribe. Keep that in mind.